Hey, how's it going, everybody? Charlie Wilson here, aka Sinister Charlie. Welcome back. Hi. We're on our Uma Masume journey. I've watched the first half of the first episode of season one, episode one. I'm taking notes. I might do a review of it. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, Haru Urara, is that how you pronounce it? Anyway, Haru, the unwanted horse who saved Japanese horse racing. Um, I'm I'm very interested in the community and the lore and the everything about it. Everybody seems really cool in the community. It's the same thing with like the Neurosama community. Everybody's really cool. I haven't really found any problems. It's not like Rick and Morty and shit. But yeah, it's interesting to find out what's going on with this whole horse racing thing. But yeah, this is a video by Glavik. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, sir. But I will subscribe to you and I will like you. Because that's what cool people do. You should like my video too. You want to be cool, I guess. You want to be a cool person. I don't know. Anyway, let's go. Sorry.
When it comes to competition, the rules are often brutal and simple.
Brutal.
There are winners and there are losers. And that is the basic truth of any sports. History tends to remember the winners. Their triumphs are carved into
By the way, I already know a little bit about Haru and the actual horse. And she's never won a race. She never did win a race. I believe she passed away quite recently. So, rest in peace to that horse. I didn't even know this before watching all this stuff. Horses live to be like 30 years old. That's a long time for an animal. That's for a very large animal as well.
trophies, and their stories are told for years. The losers, though, by design, are meant to be footnotes. They fade away. But what happens when that basic rule of storytelling just seems to break? What happens when a story comes along where the failure is the entire point, and that failure ends up being more powerful than any victory? This is the story of a Japanese racehorse who never won a single race. Not even one. But in doing so, she became one of the most beloved legends in the history of sports. Her name is Haru Urara. Haru Urara means glorious spring, which is the first of many ironies in her life. Her career became a cultural phenomenon, and it gives us a perfect look at how we measure success. It is the story of how 113 losses in a row were transformed through a unique mix of timing, spirit, and technology into a powerful symbol of hope. It is a story that begins on a small local racetrack, captures the soul of a nation during the time of crisis, and then finds a bizarre and explosive second life in the video game, creating a connection between fiction and reality that nobody could have seen coming. But to truly understand her legends, we have to start with the numbers, because on paper they tell a story that makes almost no
I like the actually thing going on there. I like this guy's editing. I wish I was half as talented.
sense. The official record reads like a statistical anomaly. 113 starts with 0 wins. And to put that number in perspective, in the high-stakes, physically punishing world of modern horse racing, the average career is a brief flash. Maybe 25 starts before an animal is retired, and even the most durable champions, the titans of the sport, rarely see the starting gates 50 times. And to compete so many times is a testament to almost supernatural physical and mental resilience. It is a career of relentless taxation on bone and spirit, a 6-year marathon in a sport of sprinters. To do it all without a single victory is what elevates her story from a curiosity to a profound mystery. So the immediate question is, how does a horse who never wins earn over $1 million yen? The answer lies in a
Well, don't you just bet against her? I mean, or him. Sorry, the actual horse is a him. I think.
Quiet dignity of just showing up.
I think. I don't even know that much about horse racing.
Isn't a winner-take-all proposition. It is distributed among the top several finishers, and Haru Urara made her living in the margins by consistently trying her heart out. By occasionally battling her way into the 4th or the 5th place, she scraped together just enough to justify her keep. She was the embodiment of a blue-collar worker in a sport of aristocrats, earning her place not through brilliant victories, but through grinding, thankless persistence. This reframes her entire career. It wasn't about failure, it was about a refusal to quit. Her trainer, Daimoneishi, the man who gave her the name Haru Urara, saw this spirit clearly.
This guy's seen some shit. It's just like, have I seen some things?
He acknowledged
Oh,
that she could
no.
be difficult, but he famously said, "There are horses that don't try very hard. Haru Urara would always try till the end." In a world that quantifies value only in wins, he saw value in the effort itself. The final layer of this beautiful irony lies in her bloodline. She was not bred for mediocrity. Her sire was a decorated Grade 1 champion, a king in the turf, who had conquered Japan's most prestigious races. She was born with the blueprint of a champion in her blood, and yet, when she was put up for auction as a young horse, nobody wanted her. She failed to attract a single buyer. Because she went unsold, the very farm that bred her had to train and race her themselves, unknowingly setting the stage for one of Japan's most unusual legends. Her destiny was not to rule from the throne her lineage suggested, but to become a symbol for everyone else, the ultimate underdog from her very first day. And this quiet, stubborn spirit of persistence would soon find itself in the center of a national conversation. But a story like this, a paradox of relentless effort without reward, needs fertile ground to grow into a legend. And Haru Urara's story found its moments in the early 2000s, landing squarely in the bruised psyche of a nation. To truly grasp why a perpetually losing horse became a national hero, one must understand the pervasive atmosphere of Japan's lost decade. This wasn't a sharp, sudden crisis. It was a slow, grinding stagnation, a quiet dread that settled over the nation after the dizzying economic boom of the 80s had
Sorry. That accent threw me. Yeah, they had their economic boom because of VCRs and automobiles and video games. And then I believe, yeah, he said after the 80s, probably into the little bit into the 90s, and then it kind of just wore off. Yeah, it seems I think isn't it getting better in Japan? I don't know.
evaporated. It was a prolonged era of corporate restructuring and shrinking opportunities, where the foundational promise of Japanese society, that unwavering diligence and loyalty to the system would guarantee a stable, prosperous life, had begun to feel like a cruel joke. Into this fog of collective anxiety, a single unassuming racehorse became a beacon. After her 80th consecutive loss in 2003, a local news story ignited a national conversation. She was given a name that in any other context would be an insult, but here became a title of a profound endearment. Makegumi no Hoshi, a shining star of the losing team. She became an avatar for everyone who felt behind. Her struggle was their struggle. Her refusal to quit, her act of showing up to the track every single time, only to be defeated in the end, was a perfect, heartbreaking mirror for a populace that felt it was running just as hard for just as little reward. Her on-track appearance only deepened this connection. She was instantly recognizable, often racing in a distinctive pink-colored horse mask adorned with a cheerful, almost
very
defiant
cute
Hello Kitty patch. This touch of childlike innocence against the grim reality of her career created an image of a plucky, unbreakable spirit. This public embrace manifested in beautifully strange ways. There was the phenomenon of her losing betting tickets. In a brilliant act of linguistic jujitsu, the public recontextualized the stamp on these losing slips. The stamped word, ataranai, carries a double meaning. While it officially means to lose a bet, its characters can also be interpreted as to not be struck or to not be hit. People began carrying her losing tickets not as memorabilia, but as a powerful good luck charms to ward off traffic accidents. It was
a lot of this is going to overlap with some of the other videos I saw, but that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, kind of. I was a big fan of the Denver Broncos for a while. Still am. Sorry to the Broncos, they just lost. But I was a big fan of the Broncos back in the 90s, and it was John Elway, and John Elway hadn't won a Super Bowl for a very long time. It took him 20 years of his career to finally win one. So yeah, I like the underdog story.
A way for the public to find a small victory, a tiny piece of control within a system that felt increasingly random and unforgiving, transforming an artifact of monetary.
Oh, and to the Bills fans, you'll get one eventually. I don't know if you guys decide to be like you know, a good football organization. I don't know.
He lost into a talisman against physical harm. The Haru Urara boom was no longer a fringe curiosity. It was a legitimate cultural movement, cemented when then Prime Minister Junichiro Koizumi famously remarked, "I would like to see Haru Urara win, even just once." The horse is a good example of not giving up in the face of defeat. The phenomenon reached its dramatic, almost mythical climax on March 22nd, 2004. For her 106th race, Japan's superstar jockey, the peerless Yuta Katake, made a pilgrimage to the struggling, near-bankrupt Kochi racetrack to ride her. It was less a horse race and more a national communion. The small track was overwhelmed by a crowd of over 13,000 people, and the air thick with
That's crazy for a horse
desperate
race.
hope. In a stunning
Sometimes you can hardly get people to show up for an NBA game, you know? That's pretty crazy.
performative act of collective faith, fans wagered over 121 million yen on Haru Urara to win. And in a turn that was both inevitable and perfect, she lost. She finished 10th place out of 11. But in that loss was her legend's greatest victory, because that mountain of hopeful, illogical bets did not have to be paid out. A massive betting handle, the total sum of money wagered, single-handedly saved the Kochi racetrack from a financial oblivion.
Yay.
Her career's most concrete, impactful achievement was forged directly from her 106th consecutive defeat. After her final race, her life after the track was marked by a brief period of uncertainty and ownership disputes, a sad but common fate for retired horses. But her story was destined for a happier chapter. She eventually found her permanent peaceful home at Mata Farm, where she lives to this day, famously sharing her pasture.
Depending on when this was made, I'm pretty sure she might have passed. Didn't she pass away last year? Could have sworn. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
With her goat friend. And
Pretty
though
sure.
her official racing career ended without a win, her story does have a happy ending on the track. In 2019, long into her retirement, she participated in a non-competitive time trial event for older horses, and she placed first place. It was a ceremonial win, but for her fans, it was the perfect bookend. The horse who never gave up finally got her moment in the winner's circle. Everyone clap your hands!
Congratulations.
For years, that ceremonial victory was the final gentle grace note in her story. A quiet, happy ending for a beloved national icon. But then, a second, stranger, and far louder chapter was about
video
to begin in the
game.
digital world. When the company Cygames was developing their ambitious multimedia franchise, Uma Musume, they made an early tentative attempt to feature her. In 2016, a short-lived comedy manga titled Haru Urara Gambaru, or Haru Urara Do Your Best, was released. It was a footnote in the franchise's history, a brief run that failed to capture a wide audience and was soon discontinued. Its subsequent disappearance has rendered it a piece of lost media, a fascinating false start that proves how elusive Haru Urara's particular brand of lighting in a bottle appeal was to capture. Her true digital resurrection would come years later with the game itself, and the care taken in her adaptation was immense. Her in-game character is a masterclass in translation. She is presented as a splendid mood maker, an endlessly optimistic girl whose design is a loving tribute to her.
By the way, sorry, I'm not making fun of your accent. I just find it like it's very appealing. I think it's funny.
Real-life persona. The multiple band-aids she wears serves as a constant visual metaphor for her resilience, and her casual outfit, the blue overalls and pink bow motive, is an unmistakable callback to the iconic Hello Kitty character from her racing mask. But the genius of her adaptation lies far deeper than the aesthetics. It is woven to the very code of the game. The developers encoded her real-life limitations directly into her stats. She has an A rank on the dirt tracks and short distances she ran in real life, but for races on the turf and for long-distance races, the domain of champions, she has a G rank. That is the lowest possible score. She is, by design, fundamentally bad for the game's most prestigious events. The game's story mode then weaponizes this flaw in an act of brilliant, if not cool,
Miku.
narrative design. It
Hey, VTubers and Uma Musume coming together.
forces you, the player, to enter her in the Arimakinen, one of
Picora.
Japan's most famous and difficult championship races, a long-distance marathon on a turf track. It is a situation she is mathematically and mechanically programmed to fail.
She's doing it. That's me watching a Giguk video.
But what if you win? It is a monumental undertaking, a community-wide rite of passage that requires a fanatical devotion to overcoming the game's punishing mechanics. But if you succeed, through sheer force of will and strategy, you guide her to that impossible victory. You are rewarded with one of the most profoundly cathartic scenes in modern gaming. She crosses the line, panting, her voice filled with disbelief as she calls out to you. Trainer, I got first place. I really won.
Well, good
And the
for
crowd,
you.
they erupted in audible sobs. She did it! Urara finally did it! Confused by the tears, she asked the trainer, why is everyone crying? The trainer explains that they are tears of pure joy, that they are so moved by her triumph. Her face lights up. She doesn't want anyone to be sad, so she asks the crowd to smile with her. Turning to her fellow races, she laughs. I am so glad I got to race you all, and usually I only ever see your backs. The scene fades.
Well, thanks for ruining the game. No, I'm just kidding. I eventually I'd like to get to playing the game, but I'll stick to the anime for now, just to get more backstory on some of these characters and stuff.
White as the narrator declares, Haru Urara has finally raced. Haru Urara has finally raced on the stage of her dreams. It is an incredible moment of victory, a shared emotional peak for her entire player base. But even this unbelievable victory is not the end of her journey. The final ultimate challenge of the URA finals still awaits. And this powerful feeling, this profound empathy forged through a shared digital struggle, did not stay confined to the game's servers. It began to spill out into the real world in the most unexpected and tangible way imaginable. Players armed with this newfound affection discovered that the real Haru Urara was still alive, living out her retirement on a small farm, and they discovered a website where for a modest sum, around $40 you could sponsor a box of fresh ryegrass to be sent directly
Which is,
to her.
it's really cool that it's cool that it gave life to a lot of these old racehorses that hadn't been heard from in years. So it's really cool what they did here.
A phenomenon the internet dubbed the Ryegrass Tsunami. It was a bizarre and beautiful act of reverse sponsorship. The donation website was flooded with so much traffic from a global fan base that it repeatedly crashed. Within a very short time, donations for Haru Urara surpassed 2,500 kilograms of grass. And to put that in perspective, that is roughly the weight of a small car in grass. It was a direct conversion of digital affection into physical sustenance. And in a beautiful unintended consequence, this overwhelming generosity had a ripple effect. One elderly horse could not possibly consume that much, so the surplus was used to feed other retired horses at the farm. The love for one digital character ended up supporting an entire real-life stable. This fan culture, however, doesn't just exist in grand, charitable gestures. It lives and breathes online. In a community built around shared emotion, it is a culture built on memes that functions less as jokes and more as artifacts of their collective journey. There is the powerful mantra, "She never gave up, so why should I?" which has become a genuine touchstone of communal encouragement, used by players as motivation for their own real-life struggles. And then there is the visual meme, a constant stream of wholesome fan art depicting the game character comically buried under, sleeping on, and eating from enormous piles of ryegrass. It is a humorous self-referential feedback loop where the community celebrates its own absurd and wonderful act of kindness. But this sudden global fame came with real-world complications. The small, quiet farm where Urara resides was suddenly facing an influx of pilgrims from all over the world, all
a bunch of weebs like me going to these horse stables, bothering all the owners. Nice band-aids.
Wanting to visit the living legend they had come to adore. This created a logistical nightmare. In response, the farm had to implement a strict reservation system, with slots that when opened, filled up almost instantly every time. The situation becomes so unique that the game's developer, Cygames, took the unprecedented step of publishing an official guide on their website titled Etiquette for Visiting Retired Racehorses. It was a list of common sense rules. Don't make loud noises. Don't feed them unauthorized treats that had to be formalized. It highlights the surreal logistics of managing a living media property and the fascinating blurry line that emerges when a fictional product has a direct and significant impact on a real, living being. It was a modern problem that demanded a very modern solution. But when you take a step back and absorb the whole sprawling, improbable story, you realize that Haru Urara's legacy was never truly about horse racing. It was built on something far more potent and far more human, even though she's a horse. Her story stands as the ultimate proof that success is not a synonym for victory, and that the most enduring legacies are often measured not in trophies or prize money, but in the hearts they managed to capture.
Aw,
In other words, she may
that's
lost
very
the race,
sweet.
but she won our hearts. Her
Yeah.
career is defined by two perfect paradoxical victories. The first was on the track at Kochi, where she saved her home for financial ruin by decisively losing her 106th race. The second came decades later, a victory achieved by her digital ghost, inspiring a global wave of generosity that provided real material comfort to the living animal. One victory born of defeat, and the other born of fiction. And the true genius of Uma Musume was not simply in retelling her story, it was in creating an interactive vessel for her spirit. A system where a new generation could not just witness her struggle, but actively participate in her quest for redemption. It forged a powerful positive feedback loop between fiction and reality that is as rare as it is beautiful, transforming passive empathy into active engagement. In the end, she was entered in 113 races that were on paper unwinnable, but the one unwinnable race she was in all along, the race for a permanent place in our collective memory, was the one she won in a landslide. Her story is a quiet but profound testament that the true measure of a life is found not in the glory of the results, but the unwavering, indomitable, and glorious spirit of the struggle itself.
Yeah, I still this guy's really into it, so I still, I guess, I need to play the game and stuff. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not saying very much. I'm just finding out the lore and stuff like that.
This is one of the most fascinating and positive examples of a modern fandom interacting with its source material. It makes you wonder what the line is between appreciation and intrusion, and how other franchises could learn from this. I'm curious to hear what you all think, but that is all from
I
me,
think stuff.
Glaive Kyo, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers!
What? Okay. Cheersu. Oh, he does he do VTubing? Oh, that's pretty cool. I gotta check him out. I don't know if you guys know, I like VTubers. But yeah, there you go. I gotta go back to the name I can't pronounce. That was Glavecchio. It's probably not right. But yeah, I gotta check out this guy's channel because this is the first time I've seen him. Obviously, it would make sense. I just started getting into the Uma Musume. But yeah, very informative. A lot of info. Some of that I already knew from the couple of the other videos, but Haru really does intrigue me in the with the losing all the time, like me. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please likey and subscribey down below. Helps out the channel. We're all very happy about that over here. And by everybody, I mean me and my dog. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And bye.